Masih disediain hotel tapi tiket bayar sendiri. Halo, Direktorat Pembinaan SMK, host dengan Mas Ruli bukan? Halo.
Itu makhluknya di enggak?
Enggak, udah masuk. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's 2 o'clock already, but we'll wait for 10 more minutes to wait for the other participants to join in. Thank you. Satu semua.
Oh iya tak kena ya.
Nggak bisa itu bodinya mati.
Udah mulai, oi. Udah mulai. Udah mulai, oi. Biar dulu udah tanggung ini tanggung.
Ini ya? Pak di mana tadi?
Kok bisa ada di sini sih, Pak?
Oke, Mas Faisal, boleh kita mulai sesinya?
Mas, langsung dimulai saja, Mas.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and happy to see you again. So now we have arrived at our fourth meeting, I believe, and we have learned a lot on this urban agriculture training. We have learned how to grow fruit and vegetables using various techniques such as aquaponics, and actually we are planning to learn about hydroponic last Thursday, but since the instructor cannot have some health issues, so we will postpone it until next Friday. But today we will have the topics on soil-based vegetable and fruit tree gardening. So we already have Dr. Awang Mahardika here. He's come from Maharijaya, I'm sorry. He comes from Center of Tropical Horticulture Studies, Institut Pertanian Bogor. So without further ado, please Pak Awang.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear my voice clearly. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh for my Muslim fellows. Thank you for the opportunity from the committee that make me be able today to deliver some information to you. So, I will give a talk about soil-based vegetable and fruit tree gardening. I think some of you already have some ideas by seeing the title of my presentation. So I hope you already opened the presentation. So myself is from Center for Tropical Horticulture Studies, Bogor Agriculture University, as already introduced before. And I hope what I will deliver to you will enrich your knowledge and your motivation about gardening, about producing vegetable and fruit, especially in urban area, in which the land availability and also the fertility of the soil is very important factors to be considered when you start to produce vegetable and fruit in this particular area. Next, saya bisa operasin sendiri. Oh, thank you. So let's start with the trend in our situation right now, the changing diet. So people nowadays, they already aware to eat more fruit and vegetable for the diet and for the healthy reason, and also for a particular specific reason. And then not only eating consuming fruit and vegetable, but also people now aware about the quality issues. One of the most important thing is they have to know how the vegetable and fruits are produced, because of course in ASEAN region we still facing with quality issue, in which the production of vegetable and fruits are sometimes not really proper or delivered in a good way. And this trend is rapidly increased. You know, in 1 decade ago, the consumption of the fruit and vegetable can be, if compared to the rice, is one by one, and now more than half of the spending money from the consumer is for fruit and vegetable compared to the rice. So the consumption of the rice is become less and less, and they need more fruit and vegetable. Therefore, we should try to produce fruit and vegetable in all. I mean, in every situation, such as in your place in urban area. And today we are going to talk about fruit and vegetable, and some of you may be still confused in what is the difference between fruit and vegetable, yeah, because maybe last 2 months we heard about the debate about whether tomato is vegetable or fruit, yeah. Of course, it's because of the political issue at the time, because the fee for import the vegetable and fruit are different in America. Therefore, they're debating about it. But in basically, yeah, every commodity can be fruit and can be as well as vegetable. It's depending on which commodity. Yeah, in Indonesia or some also some other place in Asia, this is the good example of that. You know that we eat young jackfruit, yeah. We call it vegetable, yeah, because we use it as vegetable. But if the jackfruit already matured, then we eat as a fruit, then we call it fruit. So don't mix it. Don't worry about it. And why soil-based vegetable and fruit tree gardening? Why soil? Yeah. Why soil as a growing media? Because maybe all of you know that the soil is very important. Yeah, the soil is the beginning of the life. Soil is full of life. There were research, yeah, that say that soil cannot be replaced by another substrate for growing medium for plant production. So basically, the function of growing media is to supply roots with nutrient, air, and water. Yeah, and then the second one is to support the plant physically, and allow for maximum growth. And the effect of bad media in your cultivation, yeah, there can cause plant to become stressed, yeah, and when they are stressed, they become very prone to pests and disease, yeah, and then if you have a bad media, then the plant cannot grow in a good way, yeah, so you will have lower money in return, yeah, and it will not be nice because you have no uniformity at all. Yeah. If you see in the right side, that's an example of a bad media and good media. Yeah. Either you already have a good plant material when you are not uh, really take care of the quality in the media, then you will have
23 sampai 29 Maret.
uniformity in your crops, yeah, compared to the low side that you see, then the media is very firm, the media is very good, then you have also quality plant. And growing media can be soil, yeah, non-soil, or mix between the two. So it's really depend on the availability in your area. The advantage of non-soil mixed media, of course, maybe you already have it in the lesson before, or I don't know, maybe in hydroponic system you will also heard about this, that the advantage of non-soil mixed media is sterile, and then they usually light in weight, and then have a good moisture retention and drainage, and then free of weight. Yeah, but there are also disadvantages of a soil-less mixed media because when they are really light in weight, they cannot physically support the plant to grow. So maybe the plant will be easily to broken down. And then the other important thing is that minor elements are missing in a soil-less mixed media, and these minor elements are actually they are very essential and also important. So therefore, using soil is still a good choice if there is a chance for doing that. And to make you remember that this is the element, yeah, you should have in your media, the major element consisting of nitrogen, yeah, phosphorus, potassium, and also some minor elements, calcium, magnesium, etc. And the plant requirement large amount of major element, but relatively small amount of minor element. But this minor element is also important because it will determine the quality of the plant that you are producing. Okay, so this is why the minor element sometimes they cannot be replaced using artificial media. That's why to use the soil also still important for producing fruit and vegetable. So to recap again, that soil is full of life. So this feature cannot be replaced by another artificial media, yeah, because soil contain also fungi, bacteria, microbes, yeah, that can also benefit to the plant. Yeah? So you can imagine if you only use artificial media such as gravel or sand or rock wool, you cannot replace this feature. Okay, but we also should remember about negative of using soil. We should take care about this issue, so we have to avoid this issue in your cultivation area. Because sometimes we get soil, we don't know the exact history of the soil. It can be containing a lot of pesticides, yeah, and have a pH issue, and also the fertility level is low. And the second one is if you use the soil compared to artificial media, you have a higher disease probability because in the media, in the soil, although they can contain beneficial organism, but also they can contain a lot of disease. Yeah. And the third one is the seed of the wheat is always everywhere in soil mixed media. Therefore, you have to be careful with this issue. And also in urban agriculture, we should also bear in mind that the soil in urban agriculture is not that healthy sometimes, because in urban area, I will talk later, that we have a higher risk about the contamination with chemical, contamination with unwanted materials such as plastic and etc. We can make the quality of the soil in urban area is very bad or poor. Yeah. And we should bear in mind that health soil is fundamental to agriculture. If you produce something in a bad soil, and then you will have a bad product as well. Yeah? And in urban agriculture, the land availability is very limited, so the soil must be productive. Yeah, must be as productive as it is. Yeah, so we should have a high quality soil to be used in your production system. Different if you use soil in the rural area when the availability of the land is still high, then maybe in 1 meter square you can produce less. But in urban agriculture, when you have only limited space, limited availability, then you have to make sure that the soil that you have is very productive.
Mendingan aku nonton drakor. Nyampe tadi, lupa aku.
Agriculture, often take place on a small scale, and we'll need to make a use of dense planting technique. As you can see in the picture, in a very small area, you can put anything there. You can put everything there, papaya, and then you can put cauliflower, you can put peanut, and then you can put corn on that. And then this is why that it requires excellent soil fertility, because if not, then everything will not be grown very good. Yeah. And urban soil has often been both neglected. Infection of the soil is sometimes also a problem. Because of the low microbes interaction in that kind of soil, and then low nutrients because of the runoff by the water and rainfall. And then because of the poor drainage, maybe the organism in the soil is not really healthy as well. And also there is a high chance of contamination, maybe by oil, by unwanted materials such as plastic bag and etc. So you can imagine that there is what you call it, the risk of using soil in urban area. So you have to be careful about that. So the soil contaminants can be from heavy metal, organic compounds, pathogen, detergent, pesticide, paint particle, waste disposal, etc. So you have to think about it. So some research say that to produce vegetable in urban area can also become a problem, because it will promote the human to be exposed to the soil contaminant. So we have to be aware about it. So I hope you can follow my dream. And then, so in urban area, we have to think to make the soil healthy again, usually by adding organic matter. Organic matter is anything that once alive, containing carbon. So we have to put it extra compared if we do cultivation in the rural area. So it will support an increase in production for urban agriculture by increasing availability, nutrients, and building soil tilth and fertility. Okay, so by adding organic matter, it will reduce the surface water runoff, then allow water to get to plants and improve the soil ability to hold water. And then it also will store carbon in the soil and providing food for soil microbial community. So there are some way to do that, but they are really takes time and takes a lot of energy. So to make it simple, there are two principles on doing the urban agriculture using soil-based system. The first one is if you see some symptom of contaminant, then avoid this kind of plants, and then you should use in the right side, because if not, then the vegetable that you produce will accumulate the contaminant, and it will give a risk to your health. And then the second one, we can modify the what you call it, the growing place, the growing area, using instead of in this lawn like this, we can use rice bed, pot, etc., and then to make sure that the soil that you use is healthy enough. So this is an example that we can use a rice bed system. So you can bring soil from other place, and then you can sterilize the soil, and then you put it green manure fertilizer on it, and you put in your garden. So by doing this, it will make a guarantee that the soil that you use will be healthy enough and will be productive. So rice bed is one of the example way to garden in urban area, and then can be very good for growing a lot of food and make it easier to use, and allow us to turn space without good soil into a thriving food garden. And by using compost and fertilizer, of course, it can enrich the soil on it. This is the nice example of that. So you can use a rice bed system like this, in which you can already guarantee the quality of the soil that you use, to make sure that you will not spread the contaminant to your body or your friend's body, because they will eat a good quality vegetable. Or something like this. We can make a nice verticulture system with a pot like this, and then you put the soil media into this system, and as I mentioned before, we can make sure that the soil is healthy enough. So if you imagine, if you are in a very dense area and you cannot have a good quality soil, you can still produce something using a soil system like this. But of course, you have to take soil from other parts. Or this system is also very good and can be applied to your home garden. And it's not only vegetable, you can also use it for producing fruit trees, such as longan or rambutan, or even orange. You can producing in the system, guava or something like that, using this plant. So how to start to make this kind of thing? Of course, choose the suitable crops in your area, because every crop have their own specific requirements. So please make sure that you are already aware with it, the agroclimate requirements, and also the seed availability. But I recommend to you not only producing something like this, spinach and in pomea or kangkung, but you can produce more than that. Even in low altitude area, you can now produce cauliflowers. Yeah, you can produce lettuce on it. So don't limit yourself only on spinach and kangkung. You can do more than that. Yeah, even you can also produce fruit vegetables crops, yeah, such as okra, uh, eggplant, even salad. You can produce it in your own garden, and tomato, chili pepper. Yeah, it's depend on your will, of course. And then don't limit yourself only to vegetable. You can also producing nice fruit on your garden using this soil-based production system. You can produce guava, as you can see in the left side of the slide, and even you can also produce orange or citrus. Yeah, it's depend, of course, to the certain agroclimate in your area. If you are in a high altitude, yeah, such as in a mountainous place, why not then you produce nice mandarins type orange? Okay, so it will be more beneficial for you. And then the seed that you can use, of course, you can use for vegetable production. You can choose so many variants of seed availability in the market. And then for fruit trees, you can choose the seedling from grafting or budding from the local provider. And I recommend you that you choose one with certificate. Yeah, so they will guarantee the variety of the seed that you use. So you start by producing the seedling. So you can use seedling tray like you can see in the left side. You can also use polybag, yeah, fill it with media, and then you place the seed of the vegetable there. Yeah. Or even you can make it using recycle thing, yeah, such as recycle cup. And after that you do something like this. You after 3 to 4 weeks you can already transplant it, yeah, to other place. And then this is the example of the fruit tree seedling that you can also buy in the local provider. But again, I recommend that they should attach the certificate on this seedling. And then preparing the media, you can also add some other materials such as compost, and then uh, uh, another composite media, yeah, together with soil on it. And then we can choose the pot or container depending on your will, on your creativity, of course. Yeah, you can make something you can buy in the supermarket, or you can create something creative with your own idea. Yeah, and then now the use of planter bag is also become more popular. You can buy it in the online shop, or even you can make or produce by your own. Yeah, uh, I and my team in Gogor, we produce something like this. We sew by ourselves, and then we can put the media inside. Yeah, and again, please mix the media very well, yeah, to make sure that the porosity and then the nutrients inside are really mixed well. And then after 3 to 4 weeks, you can do transplanting on your container. Okay, and the same stories also can be used to do the fruit tree gardening using a pot. You can fill the media and then put the fertilizer and then mix the media very well. And then after that, you put the seedling, yeah, on it, and then you and then we should do the maintenance. Yeah, the maintenance consists of some activity, watering. Yeah, it should be routine. Yeah, depending on the need of the plants. Yeah, and use your creativity. Yeah, because there are so many creative thing outside. You can find it in Google. You can find it in another book, something like this. I show you that if you're lazy, then you can put something like this in your media. Therefore, you don't need to do watering very often. And then you should also adding fertilizer in a routine way, depending on the dosage, of course. And then you have to know when the plant are lack of nutrients and also in versa. So, for instance, when the plants are lacking of nitrogen, usually the leaf will be yellowing. So you should know something about that. And then the pest and disease, because this is small scale farming, the best way is to use a mechanical way. So you pick up the symptoms in your plants, and then use less pesticide, or even you can use your creativity to make a biopesticide with your own experience. And then the last one, of course, the very exciting thing to do, sorry, is harvesting at optimum age, especially for fruits. Yeah, for fruit you have to know about mature and ripe. So the mature means that the fruit already big, already mature, but ripe is something related to the quality. So maybe your fruit already big enough, but they still need some time to be ripe, to be more softened, to be more sweeter to be eaten, right? And then for the harvesting, you should do it preferably early morning to make the plant not really stressed during the harvesting. And then the post-harvest handling is also important. You need to do cleaning the products and then put it in a good container to be able for you to store the fruit and vegetable in a good condition for some time. Yeah, and if you have facility, you can store it in a full condition. Okay, thank you. So that is the bite for you to chew, and then you can discuss with me right now. Start from now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wan. So if anybody have a question, you can type it in the chat box. Oh, I think we already have many questions here. From SMK Numa Arif Kudus, what is the composition for the soil mixture?
Okay, so if somebody asks me about what is the best composition for the soil mixture, I cannot say precise because basically the the mix, yeah, the mixture of the soil is really depend on the quality of your soil. The good soil, it should be porous, porous. It can allow the the air, the CO2 in the soil to distribute. So it is not really compact. Yeah. If you have a soil with very compact condition, then the first the air cannot distribute, and also the water cannot be absorbed to the soil. Okay. If you have this kind of soil, then you should add more organic compounds. Yeah, you should add more material that can make the soil become more porous. For instance, you can add sand or you can add rice husks on it to make the texture of the soil is not that compact. Okay. Okay. So really depend on your situation, but usually the general formula usually is 1 portion of soil and then 1 portion of rice hulls and 1 portion of green manure. Usually it's more, but it's really depend actually on your condition. Yeah, if you have already a good soil with the good characteristic, you maybe you don't have to put anything in your soil. Yeah, in your soil. Okay.
So like this, so one part of soil, one part of
Yeah, yeah. This is the general recipe. Yeah, but if you already have a good soil, then maybe you do not need to put a rice husk and also extra compost. Yeah, but usually, like what I say, in urban area we have a problem with this, so I recommend you to put a more organic matter on your soil.
Thank you. And this is my personal question. What do you think about the pre-made media, planting media?
Okay.
Because when I go to agriculture shop, they don't sell only the soil because it's hard for me to find only the soil. So I go to agriculture shop hoping to buy the soil, but they only provide the pre-made planting media.
Yeah. So again, the use of the media is depend based on the need of the stage of the plant. For instance, if you put the seed on the what is the good media to put to promote the sprouting, the germination of the seed, it's not that complex compared to this growing media. If you only need to put to have your seed to be germinated, maybe you only need to put it in the soil or in the media without adding nutrients. But once they start to produce root system, and then you should put the media on it. You can put it in the media, or even you can put it by using leaf fertilizer. Okay, so so basically the media is really depending on the stage of the planet also.
Okay, thank you, Pak Wan. And the next question from Sang Peter Chin. What is the very important thing we must prepare when we make soil-based vegetable and fruit tree gardening? Thank you.
Okay, so the very important thing, of course, is the sweaty the choose of the variety of vegetable and fruit you want to grow, because certain crops they require specific agroclimate requirement, which is it's not really easy to be replaced. Okay, so for instance, if you want to grow mandarin types of citron, yeah, mandarin, so you have to grow it in the high altitude area or in a cooler climate location. You cannot produce high quality mandarin in a lowland, or I mean in the low altitude condition or in the heat place. Therefore, the first one to be considered is the suitability of the variety of vegetable and fruit that you want to grow. Yeah. So for producing for instance, garlic, yeah, garlic. We cannot do it in a in a low altitude condition, such as in a seashore or something like that. You have to do it in the highland, in the high altitude. If you're in Bandung, maybe you can do that. But if you're in Bogor, in the city of Bogor, when we already have, let's say, 250 meter above sea level, it's very difficult for you to produce garlic. Yeah, so that's the key point. you have to consider. And then the second one is of course the the media. Yeah, is it possible for you to prepare the media using soil soil? If not, then don't do that, because like what I said before, when you have a very contaminated soil in your area and you grow something some leafy vegetables such as cabbage or lettuce, then you will promote the spreading of the contaminant to the people, because they are basically can accumulate the contaminant. Yeah. So if you're living in this particular area, it's better for you to take soil from other part, or you dig the soil in your area very deep, and then you you put a lot of organic matter on it, and after several periods you can use that. If you have a facility for doing soil tests, it will be yeah, it will be better for you to do it. So you have a basic information, the health status of the soil in your area, and based on that you can decide if you can go with doing soil-based vegetable production, or you can change to another system such as hydroponic, or yeah, maybe other system. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak Wong. And this question is to follow up this statement on the soil health. This is a question from Anugrah Putri from SMK Negeri 3 Jakarta. I want to ask, how do we do recovery the soil if the soil is already bad for planting?
Okay, so we can do the recovery of the soil. Yeah, we call it agglomeration. We can do, of course, soil recovery. Yeah, but as I said before in my slide, there are some ways to do that. Mitigation. Yeah, okay. That's good. Okay, yeah. So this is some program that you can do for recovery the health of your soil. You can do excavation and soil replacement. You can put soil from other place to your place, and then by mix that types of soil, the organic matter, the living organism from the soil that you put in your area will also interference with the existing soil in your area, and then years by years, or maybe months by months, uh, the quality of the soil in your area will be increased. And the other thing we can do also what we call soil washing. Yeah, we can put some material that basically can wash the bad or unwanted material in the soil. But this is very expensive and takes time. And then also can be use a technique named soil vapor extraction. It's also really takes time. And then one of the most popular way to do is microbial remediation. So the technique is called remediation. We can spread microbial bacteria, beneficial bacteria in your area, and then maybe let's say 5 years after that, they can make the soil in your area to become yeah, more better in quality, and also we can do phytoremediation. But like what I said before, the easiest thing to do is to put as many as organic matter in your soil, yeah, and then if that still takes time. Therefore, if you want to do it in a rapid way, we can use a press bed system or pot system. Okay, I hope it can answer your question.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And another question from Azara from SMK 1 Bandung. Is there another requirement for the soil that we will use? I think it's
Yeah, I think similar question. So we have to know what is the characteristics
Nah,
of
ini. Oh, ini mah gampang kalau mau orangnya ini.
soil. Yeah. So what is the
Kalau
requirement?
jadi enggak
It should be porous. Yeah. It should be able to retain the water capacity. Yeah. And then therefore you can already see in the structure of the soil. Yeah. Usually they have a dark color, black color. So it's one of the characteristics reflected that they are have a good organic matter, and then the compactness is they should be not really compact. Yeah. So to make it easier, if you put if you take soil and then you put the water on the top of your soil block, and then you can see the water can go through on it, then it's already good soil. But if the water flow into the side of your soil block, then you have problem with porosity of the soil. Yeah, basically only that you can already.
So the retention of water and the color, right?
Yeah, the easiest way to do, because of course we have to know the pH. Yeah, pH. Yeah, it should be around 5.5 to 6.8. But if you don't have the facility, usually by eyes you can see that you are a good soil, or even by the vegetation around. If you see a nice vegetation, yeah, in your area, then it also can be a good indication that the quality of the soil in your area is good.
Okay, thank you, Pak. And another question from colleague, why do we use sekam, rice husk?
Why we use secam or rice husks? Again, to make the soil become porous. Yeah, the you know that the root system, they also need air circulation. They need to breathe. They need to have enough supply of O2 and CO2. So if the media is really compact, then they cannot breathe. Yeah, they will stress, because you can imagine if you're already in a squeezed place and you cannot breathe normally, yeah, then you will be stressed. That's a similar situation with the root system of the plant. Therefore, if you put you can imagine if you put rice husks in your media, and then you already see that the structure of the media will become more porous. There's the hole. Yeah, there's a high chance for air and water to well distribute in your media.
Okay, thank you, Pak. Question from Mutia Hasan. I want to ask how we can stop the growth of pests by using less pesticide.
Okay, so the pest mean, you know, I mean, for one who don't know yet, pest is and disease is different. Pest usually related to the insect things, yeah, and then disease usually related to the non-insects such as fungi and bacteria in your plant. So if the question is really on the pest, by using less pesticide, yeah. So first you can do the mechanical barrier, yeah, to your plant from the invasion of the insect, maybe using spraying, yeah, or reduce the chance for insect or pest infestation. And after that, you have to, of course, if you want to have your plant to be clean, then you need to do a regular monitoring system. And if you want to do less pesticide control, then as I said before, it's better for us to do the mechanical way. Yeah, just pick the plant that are already infected by pests, and then you put it in other place, yeah, to prevent the spread of the pest. And pest is very important because pest can spread the disease as well. The virus can be transmitted by the pest. So control pest is very important for producing high quality vegetable. I hope it can answer your question. Yeah. So because in urban area usually we only practice in a small scale, so it's better for us to do mechanical way. Yeah. If you use intensive pesticide control, then maybe your neighbor will will go to you, will complain to you, and then you will be in trouble, right? Yeah, so I recommend you to use a mechanical way. As early as possible, you remove the plant that are infected by pests or disease.
Okay, thank you, Pak Wan. And before we continue with our question and answer session, we have here a presentation on the implementation of organic soil-based vegetable and fruit gardening in SMK 63 Jakarta. And this one will be presented by Putri Amelia.
Is you ready?
Hello, Putri. Are you ready to present your presentation? Hello, Putri. I'm sorry. Can you speak louder?
Wait.
Oh, yeah. We can hear you. Okay, so are you will be the one who presented this, or it will be Ahmad?
It will be me.
Okay.
I will present it.
Okay, so Ms. Putri Amelia will start her presentation. I'm sorry. And for all of you who have another question, please send it in the chat box. Okay, thank you. So please, Ms. Putri Amelia, you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you so much for this occasion time. Okay, my name is Putri Amelia Vanita. I'm a student from Vocational High School 63 Jakarta. In here, I will present about implementation of organic soil-based vegetable and fruit gardening at my school. Next. Okay, and you can see land processing. At our school, Vocational High School 63 Jakarta, we doing two techniques of land processing. First, by modern technique, and second, by conventional technique. By modern technique, we usually use hand tractor or mini tractor to plow the land, and then we hoeing the land, make it into a bed seedling, so we can plant our plant to the bed seedling. And in land processing, if we use hand tractor, first we plow the land by single plow, and then we continue that with rotary plow. Next. Okay. For seedling process in our school, there are using various kind of clay. First, with okran way by using banana leaf, and then by polybag or in the hammer and strictly plant to the land. But we also using biopod as our product in my last presentation. But yeah, we forgot to include the picture in here. So yeah, we use many kind of seedling clays for our seedling process. Next. For treatment, we usually watering our plant in the bed seedling in the morning and evening time. We have to water the plant, especially when the plant start growing with more water than usually we give. And then next we doing sanitation to minimize the competition of our plant and the weeds. And last we doing topping, which can make our plant keep steady and can produce many branch, so it can produce many fruit. And in this picture you can see there are melon fruit. Next. And next, for harvesting process, we usually doing this in the morning, so the plant still show it freshly situation. Like in this picture, you can see our product. There is peanut and kale, and there is spinach too. Oh yeah, after we harvest, we doing post-harvest process such as like grading, sortation, and packing. Usually in our school, after we harvest the vegetable or the fruit, we always packing that in a modern package, so we can sell it to people outside of school. And in this slide, you can see our organic system. Like in here, onion. In the first picture, there is onion, and then melon, kale, corn, edamame soybean, lettuce, and mustard green, and still many more of vegetable which we planting in our school, like okra, paria, oyong, cucumber, tomato, and eggplant, and still many more. Okay. Okay, I think that's all my presentation about implementation organic soil-based vegetable and fruit gardening at my school. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Putri. What an interesting presentation. Perhaps maybe any comment or suggestion, Pak Awam?
Congratulations, you have done a very good program. And then, as I maybe related to my presentation before, you are lucky that you have such a huge land for production. Yeah. So in Central Jakarta, where is the location? Central Jakarta.
South Jakarta.
South Jakarta. Okay. So
yeah,
but still in the capital of Indonesia, you are lucky that you still have a lot of growing area for your program. So congratulations. And
thank you so much.
yeah, of course, in this situation, from the picture, I can see that the quality of the soil is not that that challenging. Yeah, but maybe in another area, yeah, the soil condition is worse than this. Yeah, so you in that case, maybe we need to do the such program called ameliorasi, yeah, to make the soil productive again. But in your case, maybe you have only to maintain the quality of your soil, yeah. So Still, we need to put many organic matter after the use of the land. Yeah, because as I mentioned before, the soil is a living thing, so don't push them too hard. Yeah, for action, we need to to give something back to the soil to make them still productive. Again, congratulations for your program. Yeah, I'm impressed.
Okay, thank you, Pak Awang and Miss Putri Amelia. I believe this is your second presentation, yeah?
Yeah. Thank you so much for giving me the second chance to present my PowerPoint.
Yeah, congratulations on good
Thank
presentation.
you.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. So we will move on to the next question. Okay, yeah, is from SMK Arif Kudus. Is there any media other than rice husk? Yeah.
Yeah, so as I said before, this is not the strict recipe, yeah, to one portion of celery, one portion of rice husk or arang sekam, and one portion of green mango. Yeah, it really depends on the availability in your area. Yeah, so the husk, the arang sekam, yeah, the rice husk function is to create more phosphorus structure in the media. Yeah, so you can imagine that without the rice husk, if the only contain soil in which the soil quality is bad, and you put water in it, it will become a clay. Jadi tanah liat, okay kan? When they are become a clay, become liat, then the water from the top will cannot go through the soil system. Therefore, we should put something that can create a phosphorus structure in the media. You can use sand, yeah, pasir, or you can use uh, uh, cocoa pit, yeah. You can use another kind of pit as well, and also organic and other organic material, yeah, but preferably something already sterile, because if not, then for instance, if you use fresh husk, fresh rice husk, maybe you can also introduce disease in your vegetable. Yeah, therefore we use arang sekam, rice husks that are already sterilized by burning it. Yeah, so we do not take the nutrient from that rice husks actually. So we only need the rice husks to produce a phosphorus structure. If there's no rice husks or uh, arang sekam in your area, then you can use, like I said before, sand, or you can use cocoa pit and also another thing.
Okay, thank you. So perhaps this is a question for Miss Putri actually. For Miss Putri, you have a question from Fikna Cindy. The vegetable you were planted, will it be used for economical purpose or for just daily school activities?
Okay. Well, the vegetable which we grow and planted and after harvested, it has two purposes. First, for after harvesting, we sell it because we have entrepreneur lesson. So by planting and grow that vegetable, it has two purposes. By economical, at least help us to learn how to communicate with the buyer, how to speak, how to be brave to speak to other, and this process, I mean, grow a plant is also for our school activity because we plan this for taking our score in exam.
Okay, And who are you selling the product to? The parents of the student or the neighboring surrounding communities?
We sell it to like our parents or people around of our school. Yeah, to another school too, like senior high school, 97. We always sell our product to them. We sell it to many kind of person and instances.
Okay.
In
Okay. Thank you, Miss Fitri. Okay, thank you, Miss Fitri. And so next question from Asari SMK 1 Bandung. Apakah kita menanam tabu lampot lebih cepat tumbuh atau lebih lambat? So will the plant grow faster if we plant it inside the pot, or it will be better if we plant it just in the soil directly?
Okay, so it's depend on the seedling, yeah, the seed of the fruit that you use. Yeah, you can already have a seedling from seed, yeah, of the fruit, yeah, and then you can also buy from grafting and budding or from air layering in the seed provider, and you can choose in which age they are. Yeah? So if you got something from air layering from Chanko, yeah, and they are already mature enough, then maybe in 1 year you can already have the fruits. Yeah. So if I understand your question correctly, so it's not about the growth, not about the pertumbuhan, yeah, but maybe the production, right? So in soil directly in a direct grow in the soil, one of the limitation for fruit production is you cannot put stress on your plant, because in fruit production we need to put stress on your plant to make them able to produce flower. Yeah. Can I say something in Indonesia? Jadi kalau tanam buah itu ada periode kita justru harus memberikan stres kering gitu kan, stres nutrisi agar mereka mulai berbunga, ya. So different. So it's different with leafy vegetable, for instance, yeah. So by using pot, it's very it makes easier for us to control the watering, yeah, to control the nutrients. Therefore, we can put easily stress on our plant. Yeah, in some periods, the plant needs stress to produce flower, to produce fruit. Yeah, so if you put too much fertilizer and water in your tabulam pot, in your fruit trees in the pot, sometimes it's not also that good, because the plant will not be stressed at all, and they will not have initiation to produce flower for producing fruit, in which is not good for your production system. Yeah. So of course the plant in the pot will not higher, yeah, than the plant in the directly in the soil, but in the view of fruit production, we don't need to have such big trees, because it will make difficult for us to harvest the plant, to harvest the fruit, and then even it's make difficult for us to prune the plant, yeah, to cut the unwanted branch or unproductive branch. So I don't see why we should have bigger fruit trees if we can have a smaller fruit trees but with a higher production. Yeah. So basically, we cannot compare the fruit production in the directly in the soil compared to the pot system. But yeah, in terms of urban agriculture, maybe it's best for us to produce it in the pot compared to directly to the
question from Titan: are the plants need organic fertilizer, and how to make the pest not growing?
Okay, so the plant basically, yeah, as I mentioned to you before, the plant need the major and minor element from the soil, and then sometimes it can be replaced by artificial or chemical compounds, but sometimes are not, because maybe you ever heard about complex organic compounds that cannot be replaced by anything. So it's already proven that those organic complex compounds can really determine the quality of the vegetable or fruits. Yeah, and then so if you are asking about really is the plant need the organic fertilizer, I will recommend to say yes, because in organic fertilizer there are more complex compounds that cannot be replaced by artificial or chemical compounds. Okay, and then how to make the pests not growing up? Yeah. Okay, so the health status of the plant of your crops, and also related to the fertilizer program, it's really related to the chance of pest and disease infection. For instance, if you have a plant with too many nitrogen, you put more urea in your crops, yeah, they will be more fragile, yeah, to be infected by pest and disease, because the structure of the plant will be very succulent, very watery. Yeah. Therefore, although we only harvest the leaf, we still need to put kalium or potassium, yeah, to the plant, because it will make the cell wall become more complex. Yeah. Therefore, the plant will be more crunchy. Yeah. The plant, or the leaf vegetable will be more crunchy, and because of the complex of the cell, then the infestation of pest and disease can be decreased. Yeah. So it's really related. And then the other thing, yeah, like I already explained to you before, we can do physical barrier using screen, or we can do early monitoring system to prevent the spread of the pest and disease. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And next question from Validia: will the plants inside the pot survive longer than the plant planted in the directly in soil?
Basically, there's no difference about the age of the plant. I mean, in the directly in the soil and in the pot, they can grow longer if we put we put the nutrients, yeah, to the media. In the nature, of course, you see so many big plants, and they can survive longer, because sometimes they can get the nutrients automatically from the nature, from the rainfall, from the flow of the nutrient from other side. But in tabular pot system, of course, we have to take care by ourselves about the requirement of the nutrients, water, etc. But if we can supply this very well, then I don't think there will be a difference in terms of productivity period of this fruit that are growth in the pot compared to the method in the soil. Yeah? And we should, I think it's better for us to view from another side, such as the maintenance system. Yeah, if you only have a small plant, then it will be easier for you to maintain, yeah, compared to have such a big tree. So we should look at that side, and then you can calculate the ratio of the leaf and fruit, yeah, easily. You can imagine if you have a very big trees, and you cannot, for instance, in orange, yeah, in citrus, The best combination is one flower should have 25 leaves. Yeah, if you have a small plant, as you can see, how much flower do you have, and then how much how many leaf you should have, and then if the leaf are excessive, then you can cut the leaf to make the ratio is better. Yeah, but if you have a very big trees, you cannot. I don't think it will be easy for you to count each by each the leaf, and then you can calculate how many leaf you should taken from the leaf to make the ratio is good. Therefore, they can produce fruit in a more efficient way. Yeah. So we should take a view from that side. So I think the pot system they also have a good prospect. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak. Question again from Inda Angreni. For good plants, we need fertilization process. How many do we put it before harvest time?
Okay. It depends on the type of the vegetable, yeah, that you use. Of course, for leafy vegetable, before until 1 week before harvest, they can still be absorbed by the plant, and they still useful, yeah. Anything, including nitrogen, they can still be used for the plant to grow, and then because we harvest the leaf, then it will be beneficial for us. But if you grow fruit vegetable, yeah, such as tomato or pepper, maybe we do not need to put nitrogen 1 week before harvest, because basically the plant is not growing anymore. They just need to, I mean, to produce to make the fruit become mature and ripe, that will be ready to be harvested. So it really depends on the commodity you want to raise.
Okay, thank you. So, any more question from participants? Okay.
Okay, maybe I will add one more thing because in my presentation I only assume that this is for your own purpose. I mean, for your own consumption, because in urban area usually we have a very less availability of the land. Yeah, but of course, if you have chance for doing business on it, why not you should go on that. I will recommend you to use or to produce elite vegetable. Yeah. So if you have a very limited land, then if you want to do business, then don't go into a common vegetable, because you will have also a cheaper price. But if you do with maybe elite vegetable, yeah, such as high quality aubergine or eggplant, or you use cucumber with small size, we call it the Japanese cucumber, or you do it you use for a cherry tomato, maybe you will earn a higher price, you will get a benefit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's for continuous program, because for instance, if you only do for spinach and kangkong, if you want to have a real business cycle, then you need at least 1,250 meters square. Yeah, if you want to make if you want to have a very good business, then you have to make a program when you start to plant your plant. Yeah, your crop, maybe a certain person in this week, and the next week you plant again, the next week you plant again. Therefore, you can harvest your plants regularly, yeah, to make a sustainable system in your business, yeah. So don't use all of your land and then you harvest it once, yeah, because after that you don't have a regular money for your business. Yeah. So you have to make a program when you start to grow your plant, and then when will you harvest it, and then maybe you can arrange it in a weekly system or weekly program. Therefore, you can maintain your business in a good way. Yeah. So if the land is very limited, so go with elite vegetable. Yeah. Therefore, you can earn much more money compared if you only grow common vegetable.
Okay, thank you. So I think there is no further question from the participants. Perhaps any closing remarks or
Yeah.
question, Pak Alam?
Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. So I hope the younger generation is really interested to do the business in vegetable and fruit, because as I mentioned before, the demand of the fruit and vegetable is rising right now, and together with the awareness of the people about health issues in their diet. So don't worry, this is a bright future for you who want to do business in agriculture, especially in fruit and vegetable. So please maintain the motivation that you have, and then maybe that's all. I hope you'll be successful with your program. Yeah. So do the best, and I hope you can win the competition. So if you have any further question, you can search my email address, or you can write it down there. Yeah. awan.maharijaya@gmail.com. Ya, itu depannya kecil. So you can reach me through my email address on this email address. So don't be hesitate to contact me if you have any further question. So thank you for facilitating this productive meeting.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation and your comments and inputs for all of us, Pak Awang. And we hope that you get very resourceful information from today's session. And please remember, for the next session at 15 March, Thursday, we'll have the session on oyster mushroom production. So if any of you have implemented the technology on that, please send the email on your experiences or best practices on implementing the oyster mushroom production to riana@biotrop.org. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for your attention and participation. See you on the next session. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much.
Oke. Terima kasih.